Guess who? That's right. Great and glorious to be famous one day, Nick Dutch. Okay, we're having a look at this particular user, ARC5V Gypsy with a capital G and a capital P. The wording to the comment on the video says, ever wanted to redo something amazing, but it feels like jumping out of a plane. You know what you want to do, but it's kind of hard just to throw yourself out on purpose for a second time. Having a reason is probably what I need. I'm not sure if that's a question. If you've already answered it before, but would you readdress the issue at some point? Well, I might as well readdress that now because I'm giving myself a bit of time before I have myself a bath and then go out to a pub. Doing something amazing. Well, yeah, I've done a lot of things that were pretty amazing. But it does seem that the training that you give yourself in your body and in your mind through regular activity programs you to be able to do something. I'm sure I've mentioned before about neuroplasticity, which is when the brain actually changes shape in accordance with the mental exercises that you do. It's a fact. It's a fact of natural science, not pseudoscience. I must point that out yet again. When I was young, and this is no lie, I used to go to a pub and I would turn beer into whiskey. I'd wave a crystal over it. I wasn't a drinker at the time, and I'd give the beer back to the person who'd bought it, and they'd drink it, and they'd get burning going down their throat, and they would feel very drunk because the beer had changed function to whiskey. People would give me a cigarette, and I would wave a crystal over it, and it would develop some of the characteristics of cannabis, so they would feel slightly lightheaded. Okay, I could do that a lot then. I can't do that now because I have not been practicing that particular exercise. So whatever it is you're doing, it's almost like working. If you're a very skilled telephone salesperson and you've done it for, let's say, 10 whole years, you can, get on the phone and sell sand to the Arabs because you've trained yourself in those skills, you've studied those skills, you've practiced the way of thinking behind those skills. If you then stop being a telephone salesperson and you become an accountant for 10 years, after those 10 years, if you want to try and get back on the phone and try and sell sand to the Arabs, you probably won't be able to. And, it's true vice versa. If we're thinking about various different supernatural skills, these seem to be things that you need to try and develop. For instance, for me at the moment, the practical exercises I'm doing revolve around ritual, revolve around meditation, revolve around prayer, and revolve around divination and astral travel. Because remote viewing more than astral travel. Because those are things I'm practicing right now. So I'm training my brain to think in those ways, to perceive the world in those ways, to sense the world in those ways, so I can then do various things in accordance with certain methodologies. Because I want more angel and spirit type effects. Naturally, I do divination. But some forms of divination I'm better at than others because of the way that I've been training myself through my life. So as far as me getting back and trying to turn another pint of beer into a pint of whiskey one more time, I'm probably not going to be able to do that. You've got to think about what skills you're trying to develop and developing your perceptual skills, which becomes part of your own personal, in inverted commas, magic. Now, there is often apprehension when you're trying to do something strange or abnormal or unusual, because the things you're trying to do which are strange, abnormal, and unusual are by their very nature strange, abnormal, and unusual. If you wanted to, for instance, go through the lesser key and greater keys of Solomon and trying to design a ritual based upon that kind of theology and methodology to try and get the sensation of a spirit appearing before you, and you're terrified of it, you will probably not enjoy the results. So you've got to have the right state of mind, and you've got to work out the kind of shape and comfort levels that you're in at that time, the kind of psychological world you're in at that time, and whether that is actually conducive to, number one, doing the thing in question, and number two, being comfortable with that thing in question. So you've got to, sit down with a pen and paper, work out what you've done in the past, where all your recent, past 3 or 6 months worth of training has taken you, where your past experiences have taken you, and don't just sit there and think, because I believe it, then it can happen. Because if you do that, you're a dullard. If you haven't spent time practicing spiritual healing, you're going to be a pretty shit spiritual healer. If you haven't spent time practicing divination, you're going to be a pretty shit diviner. If you haven't spent time practicing with a pendulum, you can be pretty crap with a pendulum. And so on and so forth. It's like building your own career of work experience with the passage of time. And it relies upon shaping and designing your brain through your exercises to try and get results. And that's what you've got to bear in mind. Yeah, there is often a sense of anxiety. There's often a sense of, I don't know what I'm going to do. Am I leaping out onto thin air? Just, number one, do it. See what happens. But as Crowley and all the rest of it said, the most important thing is your magical diary, or a diary of all the things you experienced. And from my point of view, the most important thing is to have a great quantity of disbelief after the event. Believe like a madfucker during the event, but afterwards, disbelieve. So you can then objectively look at what has happened and just write down notes. Then maybe approach the notes the next day, or when you've had a break and a cup of tea and a cigarette or whatever, to try and see it in a more rational light. Because otherwise you're prone to either go insane or to develop stupid beliefs. There's plenty of people who have like paranoid schizophrenia, who, let's say, they're on medication and it's balanced, are actually saner than a lot of normal people who develop very stupid fucking beliefs. So you don't want to develop stupid beliefs, so just keep rational. Okay. Good fortune, God and or Goddess and or higher power and or lower power and or thyself bless. Speak to you again soon. Bye for now.